everyone, my name is Roya, and this is going to be a little bit of a weird month filming wise, only because I have a home repair situation going on where I cannot live at my house for a little bit. So for over a week, I was not even able to get back into my house to even get stuff or anything. So yeah, so that was just really like stressful and weird. So I just kind of put off filming this wrap up until now. And now I am currently home for an hour or two because the hotel room is being cleaned right now. So we had to bring the animals home, all of that. So I will soon be posting a video about what it's like to live at a hotel with your pets, because we have a bunch of them and all of that. So it's just kind of a crazy story, all of that. So, but anyway, so this wrap up is not just the two books that I read in the second half of July. It's also the first couple of books that I read in August, only because I have now finished two more books by the time I filmed this, and since I did only, otherwise the wrap up would only be two books, I figure if I already read two more books, even though it's already August and it's this late into August, like whatever, it's a wrap up should be more than two books, you would think. So the first couple of books I have to show you guys in this video are ones that were sent to me for review. So the first one is Unchosen, and unfortunately this was a DNF for me. I read about half of the book and then it just really was not working for me, so I put it down. So essentially this book is about a curse that gets spread through eye contact. So it's basically like a pandemic storyline, but it's very fantasy-ish. But it takes place in like basically post-apocalyptic modern day, and so for it to be so fantasy, like have so many fantasy elements to it, it just did not work to have it be in a modern day-ish setting. It just didn't, it was so weird, I don't know. And then I also felt like the characters were just very bland, and it wasn't even just the way the curse that's spread that's magical, it's a lot of stuff. So I really started feeling like this setting just does not work for me, I don't know. So overall, it's really not that bad. There's, you know, I did think that it is very interesting the way that that a curse is spread through eye contact, and there's a lot of different stuff with it where kind of you can spread it to 3 other people and then you'd be fine. But then who are you if you do that? You basically kill 3 other people, all of that. So it's very yeah, it's very odd, and it's very like creative in that way, but overall I just felt like the setting didn't work with that at all, and I was getting really bored by also just the characters. I didn't really care about them at all. There's also like a chosen one story, basically, because basically the main character's little sister is the one who is the chosen one who is prophesied to like end the curse, and it's never really like explained how anybody knows that. And no one even really knows it's her besides her family, but so basically the main character steps up and says, like, when someone comes looking for her and says, oh, we know the chosen one is here, which isn't explained either. She basically says, oh, it's me, I'm the chosen one, because she doesn't want her sister to be, like, captured by some weirdos and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting story in a lot of ways, but overall, it just was not for me, and I could not put myself through any more of this book. I'm sorry. Next, Amber of Night. This was also sent to me for review by Megan Beatty Communication. This is a young adult book about a girl who is living in a trailer park with her abusive father and her little sister who's like 7, who she really loves, and she is about to turn 18, and she's trying to like move out and gain custody of her little sister without her father like finding out what she's doing and all of that, because he literally just doesn't let her do anything. So she's basically this like chosen one who is supposed to get this demon guy out of hell somewhere where he's imprisoned, but she doesn't want to, and there are a lot of people telling her like, don't do that, he's terrible and all this stuff. So it's really so I really liked this book. I actually like had a hard time putting it down. I really like, while I was reading it on breaks at work and stuff like that, I was like, really, I have to like stop reading it now. So I really liked it. The pacing was really good. Mainly the aspect of it that worked so well was, you know, all the stuff about the girl trying to get out of her abusive household and kind of figure out her own like way of doing stuff, and trying to navigate this whole, because yeah, because she's trying to get an apartment without her father even knowing, and she's trying to get custody of her little sister without her father really even knowing, and all this other stuff because of course he's gonna stop her. And then meanwhile she has to fight demons, and she has demons coming at her trying to kill her, and she's like, oh no, but is my sister really safer with me now that I have to fight these demons all the time, and blah blah blah. And so it's definitely really interesting. I did feel like the characters aside from the main character were very one-dimensional. Like the love interest especially was really underdeveloped, and I thought that the world building could have used a lot more to it as well. We really don't get enough of it at all, which, you know, is fine because so much more of the story revolves around this girl and her kind of like home life conflicts and stuff. And I also really like how it dealt with some really hard topics like, you know, child abuse and stuff like that. Without having a whole lot of it be on scene, so we understand what's going on without a whole lot of detail we don't like need to understand what's going on. But overall, yeah, I thought this was a really good book. I would recommend it, but I think that if you are really gonna be annoyed at the kind of underdeveloped world building, I wouldn't really recommend it that much. But anyway, I thought it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Next, I read Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman. This is an ARC copy from forever ago. But anyway, this is sort of a companion to the Serafina duology. And even if you haven't read the Serafina duology, you can still read this, and it doesn't really require a lot of knowledge from the Serafina duology at all. But basically, it follows Serafina's half-sister, Tess, who is not half-dragon. Her mother is some douchey lady who like hates life, I guess. I don't know what her problem is. But anyway, so Tess is she was brought up in a somewhat, you know, fancy schmancy conservative religious like household where her, you know, she was supposed to be just like making a good marriage and like helping the family basically, but she at some point got pregnant and had a baby. So you don't, you know, so all you know is that that kind of happened, and you don't really find out the details until later. But essentially, throughout most of this story, she's like going on this adventure on the road because she runs away from home, and all this other stuff happens to her. So she does all this other stuff that really kind of change her perspective on different things. And then also, there are dragons in this book. Just because she isn't one doesn't mean that there aren't plenty of dragons in this. This is somewhat a fantasy of manners in some ways. Somewhat, it's an adventure story. It's very feminist. It's very, it has a lot of colorful characters, even like people you don't meet for that long. But yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to describe what makes this book so good, but I really, really loved it. And finally, I read The Corpse Queen. This is an arc that I got from Penguin Teen. This is coming out next month, September. It's a YA historical fiction about a girl who basically becomes a sort of body snatcher for her aunt, who sells bodies to a doctor who gives lectures to medical students, essentially. The book, like, she kind of starts figuring out that she wants to be a doctor, and this is during a time when women were not doctors, and so she's trying to do all this stuff that's in the name of helping people, but then at the same time, how much of it is really helping that many people, how much of it is doing more harm than good. And then you can kind of see like how messed up the people's morals were back then, because like literally the doctor at some point brings in a live woman who's like in labor, and he's just telling his medical students like, oh, this woman's not gonna live. We can either save the mother or the baby. Basically just having a terrible bedside manner and be just really not giving a shit about this woman who's literally giving birth. Like, they don't care if she dies as long as they save the baby. And like the main character knows how fucked up that is, because like, you know, she gets it. She's a young girl. Her best friend died at the beginning of this book. All of that. And so like, so she has to like try and help and do whatever she can for this woman who nobody else seems to give a shit about. And it's just like so weird how, I really enjoyed this book a lot. And one thing that really made it so interesting was how well researched it was, even to the minutest detail. And that's what always impresses me about a lot of historical fiction. So this was a really good book the whole way through. It was full full of twists that you really kind of don't expect, and even when you know that something's up, you don't know what it is. And yeah, it's just so weird, and I really, really liked it, and I would highly recommend checking it out. It comes out next month. So anyway, those are the books that I read in the the second half of July / beginning of August, because I had to fill this up with more books somehow. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!